Hey guys, I'm Jax.
And I'm Victoria.
And you're listening to
Like Totally Random. Welcome to Like Totally Random from Home.
So guess what I watched last night?
What?
I finally watched Baby Driver.
Oh my god, fucking finally. How long have I been telling you to watch this? Like 2 years?
For a really long time. And then before you told me that, I had like a friend I used to work with who was obsessed with it. And he was telling me that I would love it.
It's so good. The only thing, okay, I love this movie. This is probably one of the best movies I've seen in like the past 5 years. The only thing that ruins it for me is that Kevin Spacey's in it. I used to love Kevin Spacey.
Me
I thought he
too.
was so great, so funny, like
And pretty much everything. Yeah.
literally everything except for maybe like the virgin suicides. He was a little creepy in that, but anyway. So the only thing that like really ruined this movie for me is Kevin Spacey, because I remember watching it and being like, oh my god, yes, I fucking love Kevin Spacey, this movie is excellent. And now I'm like, my heart.
I know. It's so sad. Like, and I actually thought about that. I didn't realize he was actually in this. And when I saw him, I was like, oh man.
I know, because you still have that split second of like, oh my god, yeah, and then you're like, oh, but no, he sucks.
It's true. It's so true. Fucker.
Ugh. Okay, so what did you think of it?
Okay, so off the bat, I'll give this like a 4 out of 5 Tamagotchis. I liked it for the most part, but there were definitely parts about it that were like too on the nose or too strange for the sake of strange.
Like what?
So, you know, as you know, and as if anybody who's been a regular listener, thank you guys, knows, I have like this auditory thing. So that really got me in a good way. You know, I loved when Baby was happy in the beginning scene of the movie, and like everything was flowing, everything made music, you know, he wasn't bumping into people, everything in his life meshed really well when he was like happy, and you know, he was like in sync with his world, and you can really hear that through the music. I liked that. But then a part of it, I thought it got a little bit cheesy. Like sometimes, you know, music would play over the gunshots, or would play over like certain revs of the car engine. And I thought that could have been done a little bit better. I thought it definitely tried to prove its point a little bit too much, where, you know, he obviously had some, I don't know, maybe like Asperger's or I don't know, something. But I don't know, I felt it was trying to hit that too much rather than just being kind of a great soundtrack and a great car scene. Like I felt it sometimes meshed those 2 points together too much, whereas they were good enough on their own.
Well, I mean, the whole thing is that he's listening to it the whole time.
For sure. And like, I get that. But just a little too cheesy. And I was like, okay, whatever. And then sometimes like when he'd have those like daydream scenes about Deborah, I was kind of like, what the fuck is going on? Like, okay, granted that only happened like twice or whatever, but I don't know. Sometimes it kind of got a little too cheesy, and I think that's why I wouldn't give this a 5 out of 5 Tamagotchis. But overall, I mean, I thought it was a pretty good movie. I love Josh Hamm. No, what's his name? John Hamm. I love John Hamm. I mean, who doesn't love John Hamm for multiple reasons?
He's so fucking badass in this movie. I love him.
And I fucking love, this is so stupid, but I love his hair in this.
Like, I was literally just thinking of that.
Why he doesn't rock this hairstyle all the time is beyond me.
I don't know.
Such a babe.
Excellente, man. He is peak John Hamm in this movie, I think.
Agreed. Like, good acting, sexy. Luckily, he doesn't actually have that many lines. Like, he's not acting too much in this, you know. He's got a good co-star with that woman. Fuck, what's her name? Fiera? Something Fiera.
I don't know.
I've seen her before, but I couldn't remember the stuff she's done in the past.
I can't even
think about her
now. Like, I can't even picture her. Yeah, I just see John Hamm and then her next to him.
Like a brown-haired Hispanic woman.
That's terrible. That's terrible. I literally cannot remember her at all.
I mean, in all fairness, like, she didn't do anything in this movie that anybody else couldn't have done. So,
that's true.
She was a sexy, you know, Latin.
I mean, she brought the attitude, you know.
For sure. the sexy attitude, but you could get anybody to do that. Yeah, I mean, obviously, I loved the musical aspect of it. I liked all of the soundtrack. I'm sure is fucking fire. So
it is.
Download that soon.
You should. They have it on like Spotify. You can listen to the whole thing.
Oh, that's a good idea. Very good idea.
Did you catch in that scene? Okay, that scene that you mentioned where he's like happy and he's like not bumping into people and like getting his coffee and shit. Did you catch that the lyrics were in everything?
Oh, I did not. No, that's interesting.
I thought that was a really cool element where the signs would be the lyrics, or somebody would, like pop up and they'd be wearing something that says the next lyric and stuff like that. It was a really, I thought the style of this movie was super unique, and like I haven't seen anything like it, to be honest.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely unique. I think it's unique enough to still have whatever model that needs to be tweaked in a little bit of a way. I think there's more to kind of build off this kind of strange, sometimes like daydreamy sort of vibe. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think the whole movie, so it's definitely a point of view movie, right? Like we're all supposed to experience it like from his perspective or whatever. Yeah, so I think the whole cheesy part is him like literally being a kid. You know what I mean? Because he's young in this. That's
true.
So, I mean, he's literally a baby. So I feel like that's like why they try to cheese it up and make it more teen rom-com.
Okay. I'm with you.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that's why I think they kind of introduced those, and like the love story makes no sense. It goes from like,
seriously,
you sang a song, you're kind of cute, like let's run away and be Bonnie and Clyde. So
yeah,
I think it's definitely their way of showing like this kid's in this really mature position and like with this weird crew, and yet he's still like a fucking idiot kid,
Okay, I feel that. I think that that's an interesting perspective, because I was literally think that after the movie ended, I was like, am I missing something? Like, what happened here? So, okay, I like that.
I want to go back and watch it again.
I like that female actress. I think she's really interesting.
Yeah, she's been in quite a few things.
Is she
recently.
British or Australian or something? Mm-hmm.
Something. She talks weird, right? The way she moves her mouth is odd, like she's not used
like
to
her
pronouncing
teeth
things
are
that way.
New or something, and she doesn't like know how to like form words around the teeth.
Yeah, like maybe she's got that like freshly removed braces kind of vibe.
Definitely, but I'm pretty sure it's not. Like her teeth aren't overly straight, like it.
No, it's probably not that. And if she got her braces off, it was probably years ago.
Yeah, but like she probably got them off, and she took them off herself because she was like starting her acting, and like her parents didn't want her to take them off, and so she was a rebel.
And then she switched to like Invisalign or something.
Yeah, but she'd only wear it like once every other like week or whatever, and so they never really fully formed correctly.
Oh, you know what? She is British, so that explains the teeth as well. This explains this teeth scenario.
Okay, and you know what? She didn't do that bad of a job on the accent. I never really heard her slip. Like maybe once or twice I was like, oh, that was a strange O or something.
Yeah,
but, like
I wasn't sure if it was like a character choice or if she really like messed up the accent.
Right, and it's really hard because although you don't ever really know where they're from, I think it takes place in Atlanta or something. And so like their accents are all kind of varied. And I think it kind of, you get away with it a little bit within this movie because you can't really pick anybody's one accent. So 4 out of 5 Tamagotchis. I'm pretty happy about it overall. Hatlanta!
I kind of wish this was like some director's vibe, for more films, kind of like, you know what I mean? Like a Wes Anderson kind of vibe. Like he has his specific aesthetic. His movies are always within that aesthetic. I wish there was more of these, if that makes sense.
No, me too. Like, I could see something like this eventually becoming 5 out of 5 Tamagotchis. I think there needs to be more of this to build on, maybe some things they would have done differently in this one, because I would be all about this. There could be like a whole movement of like these music musical. I don't even know what they would call it. Like,
I don't even know. But I'm also like, the reason they got away with this one was because of the plot. Like, because there was, you know, an easy plot device to like mix the music in and like the action and everything like that. I don't really know how you would. Obviously, I'm not a screenplay writer or whatever, so I don't know. But I would love to see this, you know, even a similar storyline. Like, I'm down to watch it. If you're listening, whoever made this movie.
For sure. And like you said, I really don't think they could do something like this with your run-of-the-mill, like, college kid is struggling with his identity, you know? Like, I don't...
No. That would just turn into an actual musical. Like, there's no way.
Totally. So what would you give Baby Driver? How many Tamagotchis?
I would give Baby Driver 4 full Tamagotchis and 1 without batteries. So probably like a 4.5 Tamagotchis.
So that's currently on Hulu for all of you who've been wanting to watch this.
AKA me. I'm going to go watch it right now.
Go do it. Currently on Hulu. Check that out. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Okay, I actually got messages on Instagram that we mentioned this, but we never actually talked about it in the last episode.
What?
Tiger King.
Oh my god. Have we not actually talked about it at all?
No, I mentioned it, and then I was like, before we actually go into, you know, that fucking black hole, let me talk about other things, and we never circled back.
Oh my god. Okay.
Did you finish it?
Oh, dude, I finished it in
a minute.
I think a day. Yeah, like I think I took a nap, or I think I went to bed after watching like 4 episodes and then finished the rest of them the next day.
Dude, it's fucking
Where do we even
wild.
Start?
I don't. You can't start. Okay, I'm gonna start with, I low-key did not like it, but I'm glad I watched it.
What about it didn't you like?
So I did not love probably the first 4 episodes up until they start talking about Carol Baskin's husband. The way that it was arranged, I guess I could say, was not my favorite. Like, they really buried the lead because they wanted to hype up a lot of other stuff that I thought was kind of irrelevant. Like, it wasn't enough of like, here are the facts, here's what's going on. It was more like, oh, let's watch this guy for like 2 hours, and then I'm going to tell you what like the whole point of this thing is later. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
There was not enough disclosure in the beginning, I feel like. I also don't love all of the wild animal abuse like throughout the whole fucking thing. That made me so uncomfortable. And then I feel like at some point during it, you literally, like, it shifts and you never see the animals again. Like, like the tigers had nothing to do with anything, really. It was wild.
Yeah, I think to your point, the documentarian, he kind of mentions that in the beginning, that he was actually after something else. And it just so happened that somebody pulled up with a fucking tiger in the car and he was like, WTF. And I don't think he really, knew what he was doing. I don't know his, track record. I don't know how many documentaries he's done before this, but like, I don't think that he had a very clear idea of what this was going to be. And what happened is that he was just inundated with so much fucked up and crazy wild information that the thing that stood out the most was Joe Exotic.
Well, obviously. I mean, I definitely see that. I think he was in his own project for too long because, this is post-editing. Like, you're supposed to keep what's really important. You're supposed to basically convey, a storyline, regardless of if it's a documentary, there's going to be an agenda. Obviously, Joe Exotic and his whole Carol Baskin thing is the agenda.
See, I don't even know if that was the agenda. See, it's interesting that you say that because I think that was a great happenstance for him as a documentarian. I think that this Carol Baskin side fucking situation came about and it became a big circus act because of how much, Joe Exotic had to deal with her, how much he said he hated her all the time. I personally don't know what the fuck the point of the documentary was. I can't figure out which storyline was the intended goal.
Well, I mean, I think ultimately it is, like, the leading storyline in this is obviously Joe Exotic and his burning and, like, building conflict with Carol Baskin. So, okay, but that's what I mean. Like, obviously he was there with him filming for probably a long time, like, maybe even possibly years,
Yeah.
But it's been long enough now that you know what the details are and, like, what is important. I feel like this could have been 5 episodes and not 7 like it actually is. I kind of feel like it's a little bit of, like, a circle jerk and him being like, look at all this cool shit, look at all this time I spent. Like, I want to include all of it in here. So that kind of annoyed me because I feel like there were some really important parts that weren't, like, delved into, like fucking Doc whatever, who's insane.
Oh my god, Doc Antle?
Yeah, the fucking Scarface guy. Like, there were so many more things that, like, could have spent more time on or, like, been edited in and, like, just weren't. Honestly, the first 3 episodes, I tell people, I'm like, just skip the first, like, 2 or 3 episodes. You don't need it.
I don't even remember what happened in the first 2 episodes.
Because
honestly.
it's just, honestly, the first few episodes were so disjointed. Like, when I started, I was like, okay, I have to watch this because everybody's watching it. Okay. And then when you get to fucking Carol Baskin, then you're like, oh, okay, now I'm invested. This is what that's really going to be ultimately about. And then from then on, I think that's episode 4. So from then on, I'm like, okay, this is solid. I hate all these people, but, like, this makes more sense.
I guess that's a good way to put it in terms of making more sense. Like, I can see how Carol Baskin and her, I guess, maybe crazy idea of her trying to take down Joe Exotic became the easiest plot line to stem from. But I almost feel like that was just, like I said, a happenstance. This storyline fell into his lap because he probably said, fuck Carol Baskin, I want to kill her. Not that ever came to the documentarian's mind. And he was like, who's Carol Baskin? You know, like, I don't think it ever happened to be about saving the tigers or trying to draw awareness about, you know, animal cruelty or whatever. I just think that Carol Baskin had some reputable reputation with, like, PETA and stuff. And he was like, oh shit, let me go down this path because this is going to last me like 3 episodes or whatever.
But the thing is, like, he's a movie maker. You know what I mean? Like, he has all this footage and he's putting it together. It's not like he's shooting it and then he's like, here's an episode, here's an episode. Like, he is telling a story. Like, that's the whole point of the documentary. And I just feel like he fumbled it a little bit. And now all the success is definitely going to go to his head because it's the latter half of the season that really kills it. Like, honestly, he could have done an intro where, like, here's this crazy shit that's happening. Whatever. Here's all of Joe's fucking husbands. Here's Doc Antle or whatever and his 9,000 mistresses and his harem. You know what I mean? Like, the first few episodes, I like, straight off, if the internet didn't love it and, like, if the memes weren't so funny, I don't know that I would have pursued watching the rest of it, you know?
No, I 100% agree. Like, I think he could have done a meth head montage at the beginning and filled us all in with, you know, a 10-minute montage. I don't think he had to do all of those episodes to kind of catch us up to their fucking drama. I think the Doc Antle information and story and their lifestyle, I think that's the real fucking story. Like, something's wrong with that man. Like, I get such a bad vibe off of him. And then, like, you know, like, when they were interviewing one of his old girlfriends or whatever, I thought that was strange too. Like, I think she gave us some information, but it was just such a tiny little crumb of information that a part of me was kind of like, it wasn't even necessary. Like, we didn't need her to give us that info because he pretty much did that anyways. Doc was never that, you know, like, he didn't say too much, but, like, there was enough information around to not have her be in it.
I mean, I kind of feel like his parts were super interesting, but it was almost like too much to not be enough, if that makes sense. Like, they gave us too much of that it wasn't enough.
Yeah.
And the fact that it starts with him is another thing that's like, who the fuck is this guy? What does he have to do with anything? Like, that could have been later, I feel like, because I think the first episode kind of follows him around.
God, I can't even remember. I can't even remember the first episode.
I think it does. It's just the organization of this fucking documentary really bothers me. Yeah. All the people are trash. There's not one good person in this, except for maybe, what's his first husband? What's his name?
Oh, the guy who didn't have the teeth.
Yeah, or a shirt the whole time. John Finley?
I think that's right. That sounds right.
Sure. Okay, let's go with that. I feel bad for him, and that's the only one.
Yeah. I mean, something was fucking weird with his whole husband situation. I don't feel bad for John. I feel
like he was the most normal, and he got wrapped up into this weird meth fever dream with tigers.
Can tigers really do this though? Like, I'm in awe about how badly this situation is just got away from everybody, every single person. You know what though?
What?
How crazy was it that Travis fucking shot himself in front of that guy?
Dude, I was shook. And I don't know why, I was
on camera?
I was really confused when I saw that, and I totally thought Joe shot him on accident, and I had to like rewind and watch it again. In my mind, it made more sense for Joe to have accidentally shot him than for him to have shot himself.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, it was wild.
I thought it was really strange how that guy reacted. I mean, like, I don't really know how I would react.
I feel like I would probably react the same.
You think so? See, I feel like I'd be like, I don't know.
Because he was like in disbelief. He was like, you're not actually dead. Like, this isn't real. And then he was like, oh my God, wait. I don't know. I feel like I would have just been like, and then like left. Because I would be like, I can't deal with this being real right now. Like, I gotta go.
Right. Okay, that makes sense if that's like from your point of view. Because I was like, I don't think I would react in that way. But okay, that's interesting to hear.
Because I would be confused and I wouldn't know what fucking direction to run in. I'd be like, did anybody else see that? Is this real life right now?
Shit, yeah, that's true.
Probably with a lot more screaming, though.
I don't really, yeah, for sure. And that's the whole thing. He was so fucking calm about it.
Yeah.
Like, nothing at all to indicate how in shock you were. Like, the hands went to his mouth like he was a 4-year-old woman, like, girl. Like, I didn't understand the full, his full reaction. And I mean, I'm so confused about the intention. Like, nothing really ever happens in the end except that we hear that he's in jail.
He's still in jail. He's still married to his technically fourth husband.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's right.
They're still married.
What's wrong with these people?
Dude,
yeah, but that guy's gay.
He got 4 guys to marry him, and at least 2 of them were straight. Like,
was it 4? God,
well, it's 3 in the documentary, but apparently he had a husband before all this.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I'm like, what the fuck?
I mean, at least the last husband's gay.
I mean, yeah, but then I'm also like, he looks like a normal dude. What is he doing? Like, is it for, like, totally. I also, that freaks me out in like the whole thing. They were like, these wild tigers, like, I'd do anything to be with a tiger. I'd do anything to hang out with a tiger. Oh my God, it's a tiger. I'll show up anywhere. What the hell is wrong with people?
It's a large cat. What the fuck is the difference?
Like, it's cool, but...
That side story about the fucking dude whose wife, they would take other women to bed, who screwed Jeff, who screwed over Joe, like,
did we need to know any of that? I mean, I guess it kind of builds to his character, but, like, the art of the documentary was lost on this one. Let's be real. And I mean, I don't know. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and that it just added to the weird fucking sideshow carnival aspect of the whole thing. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and say it was intentional, but I'm going to say I didn't like it. So, do you think Carol killed her husband?
That's the $1 million question.
It sure is.
I think there's something not quite right with Carol. And I think that something happened to him. I don't know if she has the guts to really kill him, but I think an accident happened and she didn't really know how to deal with it. And so then kind of took it from there. I think sometimes she seems really genuine, but did you ever notice that when she would talk, every third or fourth sentence was a laugh?
Oh, no, I didn't.
She would never have a full sentence in like a normal tone. So she'd be like, oh my God, it's just so crazy. Why would I ever kill my husband? Like,
now that you do that.
Yeah. So like, I don't know. That always kind of was strange to me. And it kind of made me think of weirdness in her personality. So I don't think she actually outwardly killed him. But I think that she wasn't honest about her knowing where he was after he was dead.
I mean, I hope he's out in like Costa Rica living his best life, but I don't think so.
I just can't imagine somebody would leave their kids.
I mean, but weren't they grown at that point?
Yeah, for sure.
I mean,
but
still,
like, you're
totally.
never going to like drop a line or a fucking piece of mail or something. Like, he already had millions of dollars. Like, he really could have just taken his money and went to Costa Rica. Like, he didn't have to, he could have just divorced her. He didn't have to pretend he was dead.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, she was fucking crazy. She's definitely hiding something. I do think her husband's dead.
He was like 20 years older than her.
Right? Something like that. And she's no spring chicken for sure. Yeah, I don't know, because I feel like there's such a weird fanaticism around these tigers and these tiger people. Like, even her husband seems to be weirdly hypnotized and like,
oh man, that's weird.
In a weird,
so weird
trance-like state. So I'm almost like, I don't, because she has cult leader vibes. Joe has cult leader vibes. Doc Antle has cult leader vibes. So I'm almost like, did she drink her own Kool-Aid and she was like, everything for these tigers, I gotta kill this guy? I don't know.
I don't know. I think the thing that kind of tipped me off the most was, according to Joe, he has proof that Carol used to buy tigers from him. Like,
yeah, they used to, her and her husband, well, deceased husband, I guess, they used to breed and sell tigers.
Right. And so I thought it was interesting that the documentarian never outwardly asked her that.
Well, I'm sure she wouldn't have answered it.
In Joe's defense, I guess, like, he was nothing but honest, you know. Like, I think of course everybody has like skeletons in their closet or whatever, but like, he was pretty upfront about a lot of things, and I can't imagine why he would feel the need to make that up, you know. Like, who the fuck would she be? So like, I guess I think that she got something in her weird brain, decided that Joe was the bad guy, and I'm sure, you know, it sounds like he was an abusive animal keeper.
Yeah, zookeeper? I don't know.
Yeah, an abusive zookeeper, and, you know, just not following rules, etc.
But the thing is, I get the vibe that honestly Joe wasn't on her fucking radar until he like went off the rails. Like, I get the vibe that to Carol Baskin and her whatever organization, Joe was just one of like 100, let's say, and for Joe, Carol Baskin was one. You know what I mean? So I feel like he's the one who had a bone to pick with her, and she just in general was trying to stop all of these, and that he's the one who escalated it. So I don't know that she was really focused on Joe at all until he made it a problem for her with like death threats and all that kind of shit. I think she killed her husband.
You do?
I do. Or she did something. She hired somebody to kill him or something because he was getting in her way and he wanted to breed tigers and she didn't want to do it anymore. And she's obsessed with allegedly saving all these tigers. I don't know. It makes sense. And then, like, do you think that Joe actually hired the hitman to go kill her? That's another question everybody's wondering.
I don't think he had the money to do that.
I feel like it was Jeff's idea, and you know, Joe kind of just goes along with almost anything outrageous that he thinks is going to get him attention or get him what he wants. So I'm almost like, did Jeff inception Joe into hiring his friend to allegedly kill Carol Baskin? I feel like they probably did it in such a way like, oh, wouldn't that be funny? Oh, you know, Joe, you should hire him to do it. He'll do it. You know what I mean? I feel like they did it subtly to where Joe thought it was his idea. You know what I mean? I just don't know. Yeah. Or they're setting him up. I don't know. I just don't think that he had the wherewithal or the smarts to, like, initiate that kind of thing. I definitely think he was coerced and led along.
Yeah. I think by the end of it, and after the years of what sounds like a really hard time with life and with the zoo, I think he probably was at the end of his rope and, you know, could have been coerced into really anything. You know what made me feel like shit at the end when, like, you saw Jeff and his wife were pregnant?
Oh my God. And the way he was like, oh, as soon as you have that kid, you have to, like, get back to your normal body or whatever. God. Gross.
Gross. Fucking gross. But she knows what the fuck she's doing.
Totally.
Like, she was all about it. It sounds like she had no problem. Like, she just, like, laughed it off. Like,
because of the tigers, man. I don't fucking get it. I don't know. That whole show was on cocaine. Everybody in it and the show itself was on cocaine.
Meth. You mean meth.
For sure. All of the above. Battery acid, antifreeze, anything.
Ew. So how many Tamagotchis would you give it?
I'm gonna give it 3 out of 5 Tamagotchis.
Yeah. I'm the same. Definitely 3. Okay, so for this week's deal breaker, it's from our friend Brittany Bellows. Is it a deal breaker if a guy has small hands and you want to date him?
I feel like an asshole, but I kind of feel like, yeah. Like I have small hands. If a guy has hands my size, what do you do with these? Like, what do you do with these small hands? It kind of stresses me out. I have a thing about small limbs in general. Like, I don't know how to explain it. What? But like something about like people with like
take my small hand.
Yes, I fucking hate that.
Yeah.
I hate it so much, and everybody jokes about it. But I'm just like, it's gross for the sake of being gross, and it's not funny. Anyway.
But people do have those things.
And that's totally fine. Like, that's perfectly fine. But they don't have to stick them in the mashed potatoes. Like,
stir them without a spoon.
That scene was so gross. Ugh. But
anyway.
anyway.
Honestly, segue, like, that is one of my favorite scenes in the whole entire world. Sorry, not just the mashed potato scene, but where she's on the edge of the house and he's reaching down to get her because she's falling. And he's like, take my strong hand. And she makes a face at it. And let's go.
Yeah, that would be me. That would be me. That character is so gross.
That character is really disgusting. Ugh. Really gross. For those of you who haven't seen Scary Movie 1, 2, 3, 12, I don't know.
Any of them.
Yeah, really. That's what we're referring to. So I'm more on the line of like, okay, like while I'm not like, oh my God, your amazing tiny hands.
God. I can't. They just stress me out so much.
Oh. While I don't think that about these tiny hands, the first thing that popped into my head was, what can they do with their hands? Like,
if they're tiny, not that much.
I don't know that though. In all fairness, okay, so hold on. We're thinking about it from like a male perspective.
Yeah.
So I've dated women who has the same size hands as me.
Yeah, that weirds me out.
But I wouldn't want to date a woman who has these huge fucking hands.
But that's the thing. That's the thing. It has to be proportional.
Yeah.
So if you're tall, you have bigger hands. If you're tall and you have tiny hands, I cannot.
I think it's more like, what can they do with their hands? Is it good enough to be like not a part of the situation? Is what they can do with their hands, can it make up for the size of them, really?
To me, it's like if I notice that a guy has small hands, that's too much already.
If you've already noticed.
Yeah, if it's like such a thing that like I immediately notice, then it's gonna be a problem. Like, I feel bad, but it would just weird me out if they're just tiny. Like, if you're a tall guy and you have little teeny tiny...
Is that even possible, though?
I think so.
Really? Honestly, I've not dated men with small hands, I don't think.
Because it wasn't a deal breaker. Or it was a deal breaker. I don't know. You know, Jafeel. Also not like crazy massive hands that are disproportionate. Because like feet, I don't care. Big feet. As long as they're not tiny feet for like a tall guy and he has like...
What if the guy had smaller feet than you?
I don't think that's... Actually, that could happen, but that would be very small.
What size shoe are you?
I wear a size 9 women's, which is like an 11 men's. That's small. I mean, I don't know. I don't like feet in general. I'm not going to look at them. So to me, it's a non sequitur. It like doesn't fucking matter. But your hands are always out and about, and like you got to look at them. You got to use them. You got to be able to open that pickle jar. It's, you know, it's important stuff.
Like, it's not my favorite idea, right? Like...
Okay.
I'm not like, okay, so it's nothing like having a big nose or whatever. I'm not like fawning over it, but I think I could get over it.
Okay. Yeah.
I think I've dated people with hands my size. It doesn't affect me.
I mean,
much.
I guess that makes sense, but like from a female perspective, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But like if it was a dude who had the same, like my hands are small.
You actually do have really tiny
really
hands.
Small hands.
Yeah.
I'm not tall or anything. I have small hands.
Yeah.
And imagine holding somebody's hand and their hand is like the size of yours or smaller.
But I don't feel like as a married woman, I almost never hold my husband's hand.
Honestly, I'm not a big fan of holding hands. I feel like that's weird.
Right? So really the question is it a deal breaker for the person that you're dating if they have disproportionately sized hands?
Yes, it is a deal breaker.
I think I'm going to go with not a deal breaker.
Okay. So guys, let us know what you want to hear from us during this quarantine. We know these are trying times and we want to do our best to support you and bring you guys, you know, fun, uplifting things so you don't have to worry about the global panic that we're all living under. So let us know if you need more memes on your feed or if you want to hear us talk about a specific topic or watch a movie and give you our opinions on it. So reach out to us on our Instagram at liketotallyRandom or feel free to email us at liketotallyrandompod@gmail.com. Thanks, guys.